Hi everyone and welcome to the Recruitment Brothers podcast. With an age gap of 17 years and two heavy Swedish accents, we're here to cover everything about, yeah, you guessed it right, recruitment.
And now over to the older brother Rickard. Welcome to our podcast. Although recruitment is our focus, we will also talk about sports, business development and leadership. And we will invite some inspiring guests. Let's get straight into it. Hi guys, welcome to the 7th episode of Recruitment Brothers. Today we have a guest calling in all the way from Suriname. Hello Demis.
Hi
Welcome,
guys.
Demis.
Thank you.
First
Thank you.
guest ever to be on the podcast. How does it feel?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about Suriname. I don't think our listeners even know what Suriname is.
Suriname is a beautiful country. It's the most forested country in the world, 93% forest. We are in the north of Brazil, above Brazil, part of the Caribbean, but actually on the mainland of South America. It's a Dutch-speaking country. Strange for this region in Latin America, but we are part of, let's say, the three Guyanas. You have the English, the Dutch, and then the French part.
Wow. How many people lives in Suriname?
About 600,000.
Capital is?
Paramaribo.
Paramaribo. Is Suriname the country where a lot of the successful Dutch footballers are from? I think that's Suriname, right?
Yes, so you think about Edgar Davids,
Yeah.
Frank Rickard, and Virgil van Dijk, all of them Surinamese.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would have a strong national team then, if you brought everyone home to Suriname.
We are actually hoping to be on the World Cup next year.
Okay, nice. How is it
Yeah.
going in the qualifications?
We are number one, but we still have to play some strong teams, but we're number one in the qualifications. If we finish number one, we have our ticket to the US, Canada, and Mexico.
Wow. Impressive.
Cool. But what is it that you do over there in Suriname? Maybe you want to introduce yourself shortly, also for our listeners. I think it's the second or third time we meet. But what do you do? Maybe tell us a little bit about Humus Group.
Yeah, so basically, I'm the CEO of Humus Group. I'm an entrepreneur. I find opportunities, do new things, do different things. And Humus Group, our youngest company, actually, one of the youngest is our Humus Recruitment. And that's actually our biggest, most staff. We do recruitment in Suriname for companies based here and also for companies that need people to go to Europe or some other countries. And we do also some recruitment within Latin America and the Caribbean. Humus Group also has consulting. We have a consulting company, logistics, and most recently solar power.
Okay, so like a multi-brand group.
Yes. And the other thing is Quality Group. That is our BPO company.
Wow, cool. Many projects, Demis, but we are recruitment brothers. We have a gap of 17 years. And we are always curious about recruitment in general. What is the market in Suriname? Can you compare it somehow with Europe?
Yeah, so what we see here, the salaries are a lot lower in Suriname. So when you recruit and you take a percentage approach for recruitment, you don't earn much. So you need to work with volume. And the biggest problems in recruitment is that the market is small. So if we're looking at engineers, then it might be that we have to go and headhunt engineers because there are just not enough in the country. So we already know the companies where they are, so it's easy to go and pick them. But it's also easy for other companies outside of Suriname to take the highest skilled people here. So there's a lot of brain drain. A lot of people are leaving the country. And so the market is a little bit difficult because of the small scale of the country. That is why we are looking also at the Caribbean. We also make some money also from sending people to Europe, a lot in the BPO sector. We do a lot in BPO, in call center staff, because they pay well and Dutch-speaking people are needed. Suriname is the only major Dutch-speaking country outside of Holland and Belgium. So, of course, if you're looking for staff, that's going to be Suriname where you're going to look for those people. So yeah, what can I say? The market is it's very dynamic. Oil and gas is coming up, so There's a shift to looking at oil and gas. Very dynamic market.
I see. So you both recruit people within Suriname and to Suriname, but also sometimes Surinamese people to Europe.
Yes, there is a big ask for that. Some of the companies like Teleperformance, they do it, try to do it themselves. They have a big office here, so they will recruit out of that office for Greece, but we recruit for some other ones to different countries in mostly Eastern Europe. What also has happened is that the government has tried to put some restrictions on medical personnel or medical staff being recruited to go to Holland or to Belgium because they are recruited to go there. A lot have left, and if they're not going to Holland or Belgium, they're going to Aruba, St. Martin. I've seen a lot of people that left to Canada. What we as a recruitment company do, because we know the problems that we have with medical staff, we do only one person per cohort. So our partner knows that with us, it's just one person per cohort of medical staff that we would do a year. It might be two people a year. You still have enough people here.
Are you recruiting in from other countries? You say that people are leaving Suriname for job opportunities abroad. Are you being a hub for expats coming to Suriname? And which countries are those people from?
So what has happened more is that the companies are coming in for oil and gas, but they have their staff. So they already have people. What we then do is we employ them. So we're an employer of records for those companies. It is sometimes that they ask us to recruit people in. I see that it's going to happen a lot for the construction sector. As you know, with oil and gas, there's going to be a construction boom. It's already started. And we don't have enough workers in the construction sector. So we are looking for people from outside to come work. We've already seen that a lot of people have left to go and work in Guyana in that construction boom in the oil and gas sector there. So what's going to happen now is going to try and get them back to Suriname. They would love to come back, but they need a good job here.
Expats like in Suriname, where are they from? If you have expats in Suriname, which countries?
They're from France, they're from the US, a lot from the US. They're from Brazil.
Yeah.
They're from the Philippines, so it's a little bit all over. I saw there's a lot of Nigerians that work for Total and so on. So they're from different countries, but I've seen a lot of French and Americans here.
Yeah. But you also like have people coming from maybe countries with, call it, bigger political problems than Suriname or bigger populations, right? Like Venezuela, Cuba, Brazil. Is that also common that you have people from those countries coming in, taking over local jobs, if you know what I mean?
It was first the Haitians that came a lot, but the Haitians can come and they leave very fast. They hop to Brazil and then try and get to the US. We have a lot of Cubans. So they took over a lot of local jobs, but because they don't speak the language, they do more the lower, let's say the low income jobs. They taken over. A lot of the Venezuelans that are here are well educated. Some speak very good English, so they are now getting into other professions like dentists, etc. You will see Venezuelans and Cuban, of course, the Cuban doctors. There are so many Cuban doctors in Suriname, all trying to get licenses to practice here. So we have a big influx. What we do see is that they leave. So you will get Cuban people. They'll stay for a while, but actually the end goal is to go to Spain or to Uruguay or to the US. So Suriname is like stopover for most.
Can it have something to do also with the language barrier, not being like a Portuguese or Spanish speaking country that you speak Dutch and then they are used to this Hispanic language and so on, so that they leave?
I think it's earning capacity, right? They're earning about, I think it should be like 20 euros a day for a full day of work at the most.
Wow.
If they're able to get to Spain, they're going to get a better job. And then some of those people are coming from big cities. They come to Suriname and it's small compared to what they're accustomed to. So some might be culture, some other might be opportunity, I think. And then family. A lot of them have family in Spain and other countries. So if they get the chance, they'll.
Demis, how does it feel in a Surinamese heart? I understand that business is business, but how does it feel to recruit someone from Suriname to go to Europe? And you know that you recruit away good competence.
I had some difficulty with that, and then have discussions where, from a person's standpoint, that person also needs a chance to grow and to earn a decent living. So for the country, it's not good, but if I'm looking at the person and you are maybe a teacher earning $200 or $300 a month, and your rent is already maybe $250, so you have a bad life. Yeah, it's a constant conflict in looking at
Mm.
uh, recruiting away good people for Suriname. But on the other hand, the opportunities are not there for them to thrive and to be better. And maybe it's not the best idea, but I am thinking that if some people don't go away, they get more experience, they get more exposure. The economy is getting better. I think most people that are from Suriname, if they have the opportunities in Suriname, they will come back. And then they
Mm.
come back with more experience. They might have grown. They might bring some of that experience to help lift the economy.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Which you mentioned that you were also recruiting in some other countries there in Latin America. You mentioned Brazil. What more were they?
So we have some projects that are we have to recruit for Guyana, we have to recruit for Trinidad or Barbados, and for Aruba. And they're not especially looking for Surinamese, but we can recruit
Mm.
from wherever in the world, basically, or within the Caribbean for those
Mm.
countries. Bonaire is also one that we have some people that we need to recruit.
Cool, cool. Now we also have a massive ongoing project now internally. I don't know if Rickard has told you about it, but recruiting in both Brazil, Mexico, Ecuador. I think was around 17 open roles for a big client of ours that had a big request for Latin America. So we tried to do it despite the time zones and so on. And of course, for us, we can notice cultural recruitment differences already in Europe, and then it becomes almost like a culture shock in recruiting when we do it in LATAM. Is it the same for you? Like, do these countries that you mentioned differ from each other when you recruit in Brazil or Trinidad or Suriname?
Um, they do differ, but I think the biggest differences are between Europeans and
Mm.
I said non-Europeans, people on this side. It is a lot more in the directness of the approach of people. Some people in Latin America are used to not used to saying no directly, right? So
Mm.
somebody will say, "No, I'll do my best." When they tell you I'll do my best or I'll try to do my best, that means no.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time
Okay.
it's no. If it's yes, it's gonna be yes. Okay. So it's these differences that we know about, and in Suriname is I think one of the most diverse countries in the world. You have people that are not gonna look you in the eye when you talk to them. So for a
Mm.
Western person, it's gonna be maybe I cannot trust you, but for them in that culture, it is disrespectful to just look you in the eye looking at. So it's these cultural nuances and differences that we grow up with. In Suriname, we grow up with at least three, four cultures, different cultures. From when you're small, you speak at least two languages. At the minimum, you speak three languages normally in Suriname.
Demis, can we go back to that a bit with cultures and stuff? Because this is the thing I find the most exciting and like crazy with Suriname. I have been visiting. We have hanged out in Suriname, but I didn't know about the multicultural thing with Suriname when I first arrived. And this is unique. I think it's the only kind of call it country in the world that is built in a very different way from other countries. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah. So what it is in Suriname is that after slavery ended, we had they did a bit trial and error. So they tried Chinese workers. That didn't work out very well. Then they stayed. They brought Dutch people in just to come work as workers also. So they're called the Burus. They did a farming settlement in Suriname, so you have them. But then they brought in the Indians, so East Indians, right, from India. I think
Mm.
throughout the Caribbean you have, I think Guyana and Trinidad, they brought in Indians to come work. That worked out for a bit. But then the British were unhappy with the Dutch because they were mistreating those people. So they brought in Japanese from Java, from Indonesia.
Hmm.
So you have all those people. And they also have the
Wow.
Portuguese that came in during the Spanish Inquisition. So you have Portuguese Jews. You had a big population here. The first Jewish settlement on this side of the world was in Suriname. So that is why you have all these cultures. So nobody is considered an immigrant because we all came here at the same time. And what we also have is Maroons. We have a very big population of Maroons. Maroons are African slaves that did not stay on the plantations, but they fled the plantations and they live in tribal communities along the rivers in the forest. And it's a big population of Maroons with 5 tribes, 2 really big tribes that speak different languages. And then we have a bunch, I think it should be around 14 indigenous tribes also. So there are so many languages that are spoken, and because the Dutch believed in a little bit segregation, they kept kampongs with Japanese, so they still have the language and the culture and the food. The Indians still have their culture, the food, and everything. A lot of people are then mixed. So my grandma spoke fluent Japanese. My grandfather was a Maroon, so he spoke a Maroon language. So it's all these cultures and languages that you grow up with.
It must be so interesting also considering it's quite a small place. It's when you
It is.
describe about all these groups of people that have joined together and all these both indigenous tribes and so many languages being spoken, and then thinking that it's 600,000 people. It's like a medium-sized city in the end. So, oh, that's really, really interesting. I didn't know it actually.
Yeah, and it's crazy
Makes you,
also, like, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but it's crazy when you're there with all those different cultures because, like you said, they all live together. You see the differences on people in a way, but everyone is very proud Surinamese. There, I'm Surinamese. It's no one saying like, yeah, I'm Pakistani or I'm Indian or I'm Japanese or Indonesian. Like, no, I'm Surinamese. But you see, he looks like an Indian. He looks like an African. He or she looks like Indonesian. Like, it's very clear still how, but they are so proud Surinamese, and then you see it on the culture, everyone celebrating their own national days still from their heritage, but they are still local Surinamese. The food is very, me and Demis went out on the river into the forest, and we were dropped off in a village, and then I had chicken roti from an Indian family in the middle of the forest, and I thought I was like in rainforest in Africa or in Brazil. So this is impressive in a way.
you need to you need to know the different nuances of cultures from different people. But in some sense, you grow up with it. We have so many holidays. That's always a big problem, but we have a tremendous amount of holidays for all for all the cultures, all the religions. It's a lot. Tomorrow is actually, I think tomorrow is Maroon Day. But sometimes they have 2 Maroon. Sometimes they have this one for the one group, and then there's another one. Sometimes they have Samakadaka, which is another Maroon. Samaka is another tribe, and they have sometimes their own day. So
Most fantastic them is that you figure out like 3 days before that, yeah, but next Wednesday will be a bank holiday.
yes,
It's like
because the
that for
government.
real.
Yes, yes. So you have some holidays that are standard holidays, and then some holidays the government then just decides, all right, good, we're gonna give it, and it can be a week before. And sometimes they maybe have a holiday, and then the moon. Some people say the moon is different, etc. So we need to celebrate this holiday another day, and it changes.
Wow, amazing.
So
Amazing.
it's
Well to
interesting.
plan then.
Yeah, we celebrate Chinese New Year. So we celebrate Japanese New Year. We celebrate Indian. So we celebrate a couple of New Year celebrations.
And it becomes like public holiday. People are off work during these days.
Yes, public holiday.
How do you plan like as a business owner when it's like 3 days notice that, okay, on Tuesday next week we have a public holiday? Like, how do you plan?
You don't. That's it.
Yeah,
We only the
you
only
have to live
only
with it.
problem you have to deal with. The only problem you have if you have clients, European clients, you will have to just pay your staff 200%. That's it.
Yeah,
You can't do anything else.
See, I see.
crazy. And to get all those talented people back then, Demis, what do you think it takes for Suriname to become popular again for its own population to live in the country and develop the country and maybe raise the salaries and stuff? What do you think it takes to grow the country?
I think that One, now we're moving to oil and gas, so we might have the problem, and the Dutch disease, it kills every other sector, and people start earning higher wages in all the spin-off of the oil and gas. So people are going to want to come back, but I think it will take some leadership that doesn't want to be popular and says, "Hey, I'm going to plan for the long term." I think that is our biggest issue. We need to plan for the long term and say we have a 2050 vision, and everybody is behind that 2050 vision. You know, the problem with politics, with a democracy, is that, of course, you need to please your constituents, and they're going to do the popular things, the things that are going to work out in 15, 20, 30 years are not going to get
Mm.
done. Or you need to have enough money so you can do both. That's not going to happen right away. So I think people are going to come back because of the money. But the ones that are going to come back sometimes have been living in Europe for long, or even when they're with the parents. What I see is that the culture with them has changed so much, and it's
Mm.
more difficult for them to adapt than if I was to get somebody from Trinidad or from Guyana or from one of the Caribbean countries that understands it better. That we have time doesn't have us. Some people will still tell you, "I come tomorrow morning." It's not going to be 8 or 8:30 or 9. It's going to be morning. It's not going to be the exact time. You don't see people running. Most of them don't say anything, even say anything. I have a problem with it, but some don't even say anything. Yeah, 10 minutes late. What is the problem? 15 minutes late.
Mm.
We went to the forest, right, Rickard? If you ask the boatsman, like, what time are you leaving tomorrow? It's going to be after breakfast. But the time exactly, it's after breakfast, which actually you're in the forest on vacation. You don't need to know 9:15 or 9:20 or 10 o'clock. You just enjoy. So that is one cultural difference that we look at, and things are different. And
Mm.
you should be wanting to, because you're not going to change. You cannot come to Suriname and think, I'm going to change that culture. They need to be better.
Mm.
You're going to have to adapt, but that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah. Do you think it can become like a reverse culture shock from someone from Suriname who is maybe going to Europe, let's say, for a certain amount of time to work, and then they return to Suriname?
You mean that they have a culture shock when they go there to Europe?
Yeah, like a reverse one. So when they move back, they are shocked by their own culture to begin with.
Yes, because then you realize a couple of things. And whenever I travel a lot, whenever I go some places and I come back, I start to be unhappy with a couple of things. But then I'm here again and I understand it. I leave it, and it's in different things. It's in like the service industry. It's like we are, as Rickard knows, people are very hospitable and nice to you.
Mm.
But when you go to a restaurant, most of the times, it feels like you're coming to bother people. Because, they have attitude, they have sass, they're gonna just tell you don't see that I'm busy, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Public transportation is almost non-existent, and it's not set to specific times. It's when the bus is full, they leave.
Yeah.
That's it.
It goes when it goes.
It goes
Yeah.
when it goes. And sometimes it
Interesting.
doesn't go, and that's it. They just don't go. Don't. There's no bus.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
things where when you come back, in Europe, you expect certain things. You also pay for certain things, right? So, for instance,
Mm.
there's a lot of tax being paid here and there. In Suriname, the tax system is a little bit more relaxed. So you're not
Mm.
paying tax on, you're not every single thing you do, there's no television tax and all these things.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a road tax. You don't get a
Mm.
tax, for instance, garbage collection. It is free, but all right,
Mm.
they might not come this week. So no, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like in somehow that maybe that kind of culture in a way is nice. Also in a way that you're relaxed, you're not stressing so much. You're also happy for smaller things in life. Maybe, enjoying a meal with a friend or family, the
Living day
things.
by day.
Yeah, a bit, we are
It is.
stressed in Europe. We are chasing something all the time.
It is. I can call a couple of friends or put in a group chat, hey, let's barbecue later or let's go out of town this weekend. And there will be people that we're going to do it. If somebody asks me about, let's plan to go out of town in November, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I'm going to be alive then. I don't plan for November. We're
That's
all the
also
way in
nice.
October.
Yeah, that's also
It's
nice.
yeah, things are when it's too far away. I don't plan for
Yeah,
too far away.
you don't know if it's gonna be a public holiday or not, so you can't say yes.
Exactly.
Jumping back now, we can do like I think 3 episodes about Suriname. It's super interesting, but we are also a bit curious about Humus Recruitment. Like, how do you see the recruitment industry itself? How do you become a good recruiter? Is there any special skills you should have? Like, how do you look at recruitment and an individual recruiter?
So basically, I learned a lot from looking at Nordic Jobs. Nordic Jobs is a couple of recruiters here. So I didn't think about trying and inventing everything myself. So I looked at the model also. And from another company, I looked at the model. So in Suriname, a good recruiter there need to be some kind of balance. Needs to be somebody that's an outgoing person, but really balanced with wanting to do work in an office and, sitting and being concentrated. And that balance is difficult to find for very outgoing people. So what I've seen with my recruiters that are doing very well, they are a little bit introverted, but the extroverts don't find it all the exciting enough all the time. This is what I think brings a good recruiter and also somebody that is tech savvy. I think the recruitment industry is benefiting already and gonna benefit more from AI revolution. That I think is the future of recruitment, where we are more on the background and AI is doing a lot of the work. Because basically 90% of the work can be, I think, automated. Interviewers they can look human, they can speak and respond in a way, but that's already being done. So I do think that is going to be the future of recruitment. Your recruiter will look human, will speak to you, but will not be. So we are going to have to be a little bit more in the background and dealing with the technology and then maybe doing the last phase of the interviews of talking to people. I think that's going to be that. I don't know how the world will move on, and then because AI can do so much more, so I'm not seeing what's going to be left for humans to do really. Because interviewing for what jobs? A lot of jobs are being taken over by AI in this part of the world in Suriname. Not yet. Connectivity issues, all kind of other things are happening. But the future in recruitment is AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we also discussed this in a previous episode, and we think a little bit like you also said now that a lot can be automated and done by AI can already be, and who knows, like in the next 3, 4, 5 years, how it's gonna look like. So it's a little bit scary but exciting at the same time. And what will happen to the industry? What will happen to our jobs? But also, like you said, the jobs we recruit for. And I think what we kind of discovered when we did the research was that we also think that the things that we will be able to automate and that AI will be able to do, it will then allow us to be more human in, for example, the final stages of the recruitment process. So hopefully we can work even more human. It sounds almost contradictory to say because AI is going to take over, but we will have time to spend our time where the human element is needed.
Yeah, I think so. But it's exciting times. It's interesting. It's now looking at how we are moving. We find our niche within that part. In Suriname, there's less of the movement, work from home
Mm.
is less. So, we also need to speak to people physically. We need to see them. And because we know the culture, we have a lot of people that want to come late to work. They're just late. And if you're late for your interview, so it's easy to come online and be on time, you put on a jacket. Normally, I'm with my Real Madrid shirt.
Real Madrid polo.
Yeah.
But you put on a jacket, you're there. But for you to come on time to the office and have your proper interview, that is something that we also value. So it's these little things that we still are gonna have to do. So and that you're right, Martin. And if we can automate a lot of the mundane stuff, then we can really focus on these things.
Oh, true. No, but I see some of our clients actually, it's a requirement for them to do at least one of the interviews on site, even if we recruit internationally. So now I recruited someone from Ireland to Denmark, the one that Rickard mentioned here before we pressed record. For that case test, that was a part of the interview process, they flew that candidate from Ireland to Denmark to do the case test in the office, face to face with the hiring manager, and it was like no compromises. It was like that's it, or we will go with someone else. So and these are tech companies that do it, who are generally AI first, and they try to stay ahead of technologies and be modern, but even they want to meet their future employers in person before they send out that work contract.
But also what happens, what I've seen is that people utilize AI to do the interview. So you might have been talking to an AI bot instead of a real person. So that is also another thing that we need to look at, and then you need some skills to see. But as AI is developing, it might be more difficult for you to recognize that you're talking to a bot instead of a person.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. You already see like these content that's AI generated, and it's difficult to tell whether it's real or if it's AI generated. Or at least for my eye, it's not easy to spot all the time.
Yeah. So if I was doing an interview now, I might have been sitting in person, but I'm letting AI listen in, transcribe, give me the answers to your question. They have researched Martin and Rickard, know everything about you and your company, what to say. I'm not going to be able to do it the best, so I would use it, to be honest.
Yeah,
If I'm getting a $30,000 job, I'm not taking chances.
Yeah, those crazy fees, like we have one level of fee in Europe, of course, that can, variate between levels of recruitment. But like you said, in maybe some areas of the Caribbean or LATAM, there is a different level again, like a lower fees. And then we see the US market again that have crazy fees when it comes to recruitment, and the timeline for a hiring process is fast because the notice period is like maybe 2 weeks. So there is some different markets, and still we are all doing the same kind of recruitment tasks and processes, but we get different payments for the services. So I'm not sure what my take out for that was, but in general, it's crazy that we do the same job, but there is different payments for the services.
Yeah, and then which means that you pay your recruiters less. What happens, of course, the good ones, companies take them. You can't do much about it. We lose on average one recruiter a month. Every 2 months, at least one leaves. So we're constantly recruiting new recruiters because, yeah, you train them and then they leave. So try and hold them for like at least like 2 years, and then they're up to the next. Because of course you're sitting there, you're earning maybe what in Suriname might be 500-600 euros. Maybe you earn another 400 euros commission. Let's say you earn 600 euros a month, and all these nice jobs come along that you're recruiting people for, and you start thinking this 1,000 euros a month job it could be mine, and you know how to get it because you're a recruiter. You know which answers to give. You know how to market yourself. You've been trained into knowing what works best. So they leave.
Yeah. And like
same like a football player. If you're it's how they do. If they do one good season in a team today, they will go on to the next one, to the next league, to the next level.
They should, as they should. It's a natural order of things. The people need to grow, and that is also our motto. So when people tell us that they're going to leave, I'm I'm sad for the company, but I'm happy for them. So you just advise them on how to go further, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think you're extra targeted in Suriname, Demis, as well, because Humus Recruitment, to give you some, what do you call it? Give you some nice feedback here, but you are like number one on the market. Humus Recruitment is the go-to agencies like for local businesses, but also international businesses. You're the first company you find when you search for services in Suriname. And of course, then your personnel will be targeted. Your recruiters will be targeted by companies also then that is either like expanding their business, looking for senior people or skilled people, or international companies. So you have the target on you in a way because you're doing good. So it's a challenge, but it's like you said, it's life, and it's Ajax Amsterdam model. Then you maybe lose the best players, but you still play in Champions League and you sniff on the finals, potentially win.
Exactly. Actually, Suriname is a small country, so it always comes down to having connections. And what better connection to have than somebody that has worked for you, that is in a bigger company now? After a couple of years, you see they bring business to you for recruitment or for other things that we do within the company. So you never burn. What do you say? I don't know. I don't know if you have the same thing. You say bridges, right? We zeggen de schepen verbranden. We don't burn the ships behind you.
Exactly.
How do you say it?
They say burn bridges or something, right? Or is that
Okay, we
just
see.
No, I think you
I
can
don't
say
know.
that, or it's the Swedish way at least. And I don't know if it's
Oh, the Swedish
Swinglish
way.
or if it's proper English, but we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because English is not our first language for none of us, right?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
do you have any questions for us, Demis? Is it something you want to ask or bring up?
Yeah, no, I just want to say this. I love this program, and I now know of it, so I'm gonna listen. Do you guys give a lot of advice on recruitment? And if you're giving all this advice out, are you not helping others to beat you?
Yes, I think so. But like, especially when it comes to, you mentioned even Nordic Jobs Worldwide, we have been the ones that are laying the railway trails in the industry kind of when it comes to language recruitment. So we see that many companies that have popped up are copying our business ID. And if we create a new title, 2 months later, you see a new title with a competitor. If you see that we do a change on the website, 2 months later, someone else have done the same change. If we sign a client, then the competitors chasing the same client. So we are always chased in a way by competition because we were the first with language recruitment. And also we see that, of course, we are copying some things from other companies as well. So like, it's kind of learning from each other kind of things, and we are not afraid of the competition as well because we know that we are so unique in what we are doing and that we have a special way of tailor-made all the delivery to clients on a global scale. So we at the moment we are more now proud to share it out and maybe attract more people to work in the industry, maybe to connect with new clients, new contacts, new candidates, and also but being more proud of what we're doing. And if we are taking the place as the number one, say, in language recruitment, okay, but let's stand the ground and be proud of it and not be afraid of being challenged or that companies are stealing our IDs, but because they are already kind of doing it of what they see on the visual side of social medias and websites and stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's inevitable. Like if you're doing something great, you will always have people who are copying, and you can choose to see it in two ways: to see it in a negative way or to see it in a positive way, that they're actually not just copying, but being inspired by what you're doing. So in some way, it's a positive sign. If someone picks up ideas and implement them, then you're doing something that works.
But it's a balance. How much should we share? Kind of when you are in an industry, you maybe want to talk about the nice client case, but are you going to mention the client or just what position you're filled? Or if you talk about a nice AI tool, are you going to mention the tool, or are you just going to say that you have an AI tool that do this for you? Like, how much are you sharing kind of on the topic you're talking about? So it's a bit tricky, and from time to time where you feel comfortable of sharing and what you're holding back.
Yeah, I understand. No,
Yeah.
but also, Martin, are you coming to Suriname?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to, actually. Let me know when you're planning the trip for the next time. I would love to join. I heard about the fishing trips and the Chinese hot pot that you ate, and Rickard was really happy about that Chinese hot pot. So no, absolutely.
And the Japanese massage.
Japanese
Yeah,
massage as well. Yeah, super.
that
No,
was a strong one. Strong one. There was like what do you call misused, like I couldn't walk for 3 days. I had a back pain and I needed help, but the pain was worse all over the body after.
nice. No, but it would be super cool to go. It's like one of those places that if I didn't know you, Demis, or we didn't have the connection to Suriname through the company, I would never have thought about going there. Of course, now there are a lot of reasons. Could be fun. But Demis, for you, you mentioned, I know you're a man with a lot of different things going on at the same time. You mentioned Humus Group has multi-brands and anything from logistics to consulting and so on. But what's up next for both Humus Group, but also you as an entrepreneur?
I think dipping my feet more in the BPO sector. I think that is not only recruiting for them, because what I've seen is that recruitment is one of their biggest bottlenecks for them for a lot of BPO companies. And now we have the recruitment actually in-house. So if we can overcome that biggest obstacle, and we have overcome it because we know how to recruit, we're recruiting for the BPO in Suriname and internationally. I think that recruiting for ourselves is the next step, and we are doing it already. So we're starting some projects in the BPO with Quality Group. So that is, I think, the next step. And I think oil and gas is coming into Suriname. So we're already in the EOR business. We see a lot of growth in there. But I think my background is actually, I studied environmental technology, so I'm an environmental engineer. So I want to do something that also promotes the environment. So that's why I went also into solar to see about bringing a better balance in, production of oil. But then how do we use that to create more clean energy and a better way of living? So I think doing a lot more with environment will be also something on my list for the next years.
Yeah, and one final question then, Demis. Will you run for president?
I need a lot of money to run for president. Look, the moment I run for president, and I might do it, the moment I do that, it's going to be that I don't need any money anymore because I don't want to be in a position where I can use my power to gain for myself. And that has been the culture in a lot of countries. I won't say only the Caribbean or in Suriname, in a lot of countries that people use it to gain a lot more for themselves. And I think that is the moment that I think I will be ready to do it.
Good political answer.
Yeah. But it's actually a big opportunity to do a big change for 600 people compared to if you're leading a country with 5 million or 50 million people, like 600,000. It's still a small population, and if those 600,000 live on, like, what is it, 13% of the area of the country, then it's an opportunity to actually do a difference.
Yes. But the difficulty is the so many languages we speak. There's so many cultures. You have to please like 10 different ethnicities. I think that might be one of the things that is difficult. And then we live a little bit spread out sometimes. So it becomes expensive to bring the services that everybody needs to every single Surinamese. So there are some difficulties, but I think that 600,000 is not much if we're getting some oil money. Might be an easier job, huh?
Let's see what the future brings. We said 5 years, right? Any final questions, Martin?
No, I've learned a lot about Suriname, more than I ever thought I would know about it. The job market, the cultures, the national holidays is one that I'm gonna remember for a long time. So the next step will be to visit.
Yeah,
You're
thank you so
welcome.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining in, Demis. It was really pleasant and exciting conversation, I must say. Great first episode to have with the first guests ever on our podcast. So thank you so much for taking your time. I know the time difference is huge, so I'm happy that we could coordinate this.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.